Hi, my name is Ailey, and I have the Alberti Cipher. So how it works is it has an inside disc and an outside disc. The inside disc stays stationary while the outside is movable to align it with your indicator. And then you will also have an indicator to tell you when it is initially aligned with the inside and outside, and there is always a rule that you make beforehand when rotating. So the history is it started in 1467 during the Italian Renaissance in Italy, specifically Rome and Florence. They started it because before they only had monoalphabetic substitutions, and those were really easy to break with frequency, and they wanted something harder to break. Leon Battista Alberti is the one who started it. He was an Italian Renaissance polymath, and father of Western cryptology was his nickname. That's a quote by him. And then how you encrypt it is you choose an initial alignment. So you pick an outer letter to align with the indicator. For this example, I used M as my indicator and P to align with it on the outside. And you rotate it until you get your indicator aligned with your outer letter. After you get that, you will encrypt several plain text letters. So for example, you'll take your H and you'll align it with your outer letter K, and that'll become your new cipher. So after you do that, you will do about half of it before you'll switch it so that it becomes harder. So you'll rotate partway through and pick a new letter to have your indicator line up with. I picked J to have it line up with, and then you continue repeating until you're done with that. Okay, to decrypt it, you will have your letters. For example, I have KHOORTLOIA, and you will take your first letter, which is K, and you will line that out with the outside. Well, you'll line it out. You'll know which is the indicator and which should be on the inside. You'll line that up until it is even. And so you'll make sure your indicator is lined up with the outside P, and then you'll just go through and find your outer letter that you have and line up with the inside. So you'll move K to H, and then you'll continue. Once there is an indicator that it is switched, for example, I used lowercase letters. Other ways it could be a number or a symbol or something new. That'll be when you know you need to rotate the disc again. So as you can see, T is lowercase, so we need to rotate it until J is now lined up with our indicator letter, and then continue decrypting. And as a side note, the alphabet on the disc was often scrambled to make it more difficult, but for the simplicity of this, I am keeping the alphabet in its original order. Code breaking. Some of the challenges with code breaking were there were unknown alphabets, and it was often scrambled. There were unknown alignments, and no one really knew the indicator unless you were the one who prior made the rules, and you couldn't really tell when it switched unless you knew beforehand. So how you would code break it is you would identify the alphabet switches. So you would look for unusual uppercase letters, numbers, or symbols. Then after you figured out how to switch it, or guess, hopefully, you will treat it like a monoalphabetic substitution. So you'll use frequency analysis, which is just finding common letters, and then, like, for example, if there's a bunch of T's, then you can assume that's like an E or an A in the English alphabet because those are the most common letters in the English alphabet. After that, you'll just try possible alignments with the indicator, but that will take a very long time. And then these are all my resources I used for this. That's it. Thank you.